All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a nice long barrel build here. So we got the really long inner barrel here on a Gen 8 M4a1. This is a nice long metal barrel. And then we've got an M95 spring that I put in the gearbox as well. So I've continued to learn more and more about 3D printing, and I definitely have a better handle on it. I can make some much better pieces now. I mean, I always made what I think was good work, but I had to do a lot of manual fabrication, and I've just found ways to make everything better. And one of the biggest things when I was making pieces is keeping the inner barrel stabilized so that it was nice and straight all the time was sometimes difficult. And so with some of the new things I've been able to figure out with printing, I've definitely been able to overcome those issues. So first, I do have some pieces I'm going to reuse here. You may recall I showed a blaster with that stock, but it wasn't performing right. So once I started tearing it apart, I just thought that stock would look really cool on this. It's a nice longer stock, and this is going to have a really long handguard and inner barrel. So I thought that would be a good choice for it. So it's going to get painted. The green part's going to get painted. I've got this metallic gray that I'm going to use. So it's going to be metallic gray and black are going to be the main colors here of this build. I'm going to go ahead and reuse a Kriss Vector style rail here. This will get painted as well. And there's a couple reasons. I think it'll fit really nice. I've got these little angled rails that I'm going to show you where I'm going to put those on. So first off, again, I printed this so that it actually fits directly onto the barrel, just like it should. Now it is super tight. Now it's funny because I'll adjust the size slightly, and then sometimes they'll be really loose. So I think just each of these, receivers on these gearboxes, depending on the brand, are sometimes slightly different in size. Now, I actually don't mind it being super tight because, again, that means it's going to really stay stable and straight, which is super important. So this one was so long, I needed to print it in two pieces. So you see the other piece here. And this is what I guess I would call my outer barrel with all the different stabilizers. So you can see lots of stabilizers on here that are printed, and then a threaded tip at the end. So this is actually going to be secured inside the barrel, but I wanted to show it to you before I went ahead and did that. So this is going to go all the way through there, and you can see the metal tip just barely sticks out past the threads. And anytime you're printing plastic threads, I found it's best to have the inner barrel go all the way to the end of those threads. It's just going to give them more stability and strength because you can end up breaking those. So then we've got this piece here. So this piece is going to go on here. So this handguard was actually just, again, something I really customized. It was a much smaller, shorter version. I did some cutting and some tweaking of it so that it would fit, be nice and long like this. Now I've got these long, like you see that angle there. So that little angle is going to kind of hang over the front, which I thought was really cool. And then, of course, it'll repeat on the bottom and the other side. And then I'll just have these back here, right? So we're not going to do full side rails because I think it's a little unnecessary because we'll have a full rail on the bottom and a full rail on the top. So you can see how I did this with the stabilizer too. There's like one really nice long tube right here that's going to really help keep that super stable. Of course, we're going to have a rail along the bottom here, right? So that's going to be definitely adding stability to it as well. So everything should stay really nice and straight. Tip is right here so that we can go ahead and thread something on as long as it stays slightly smaller than the circumference of this, which there's plenty of options that I can choose for that. So this is based on actually an MP5 handguard, so it's not even close to how it would, that would normally be used. And then on top, of course, it'll have a full rail, and the rail will line up perfect with the rail of the receiver. So I wanted to show you guys that first, show you what all goes into it. So this should be a very solid handguard that should not have, really any movement of that barrel. Keep it nice and straight, so hopefully we get the best performance possible out of it. Just wanted to show you that quick. That's kind of the first step in it. Got to do a little bit of sanding. It's nice to have a much better printer now. Not only is it so much faster, it also just prints so much better. And that way I don't have to do near as much sanding, which I don't miss doing. All right. So I'll show you once we're completed. And then, of course, we'll demo it and test the FPS on it.